Alright, so this is the video to explain the procedure for the taste and smell lab. There are two different files. There is the scan of the lab. If you want to print it out and write right on it, that's fine. The only thing I added a few questions about what substances you're using since I'm not providing them for you. So some of these things we'll talk about. Just make sure you write down what it is so you can share it with us. And then the second document is an answers document. So in activity 1, you're just going to go to the brightest mirror that you have in your house and look at your tongue. You might want to use the flashlight on your phone or just a regular flashlight to really look at your tongue and do it with the lab. And the lab here, and see if you can really see those taste buds. There's a better picture in your textbook. Activity 2 is histology that we're not doing, so we're going to skip to activity 3. In activity 3, you're going to do this either with yourself, or you can do it just on a subject, or you can both do it together. It's fun, bonding. You're going to dry off your tongue super, super well. It has to be totally dry. And then you are going to take a spoonful of sugar and put it on your dry tongue. When the sugar hits your tongue or your subject's tongue, you are going to hit start on the timer, and you're going to stick your tongue out the whole time. Try to keep it really dry and see how long it takes for you to taste the sugar. Sometimes it's very long. And then answer the question, why couldn't you taste the sugar immediately? I'm trying to make all the answers that you put in bold, so I'll go do that as we go through. After that, you're going to do activity 4. Activity 4 is really 3 different activities, I think. So I broke them down into A, B, and C. So for activity 4A, this is the food tasting. So you're going to you need a subject for this. Anybody in your household works, as long as that person has a normal sense of taste and smell. And again, don't, be nice. Don't trick them into eating something that is like revolting to them, or something that is, don't, or something that they're allergic to. Be safe, be kind. So you have that person be your subject. Before they come to the testing area, you are going to cut up a couple, you need like similar size pieces of food, little sort of like maybe 1/4-inch cubes works well. The front page of your lab tells you, let's go back to the front page, what I would use in class. So if we go back, I would have cheese. I just cut up pieces of a cheese stick. Apple, raw potato, dried prunes, bananas, raw carrot, hard-cooked eggs, like the white part of a hard-boiled egg. And I put them in little containers, and you can pick from them. So that's kind of an idea. You kind of want things that are of similar texture. So like potatoes and apples have the same texture. And prunes and carrots all sort of have that hard texture. Whereas cheese and the whites of eggs are pretty similar, and prunes and bananas, when you cut them up, are all kind of the same. So you can use those if you have those, but anything, I mean, you could use meat, you could use whatever, as long as you cut them up into the same shape. And you can give your subject a list of things that you're going to use, or you can not. It's up to you. You should make note of that. All right, so you are going to have your person sit where they can't see the food, so you hide the food from them. You can have them sit blindfolded. That's what we do in class. I have a bunch of blindfolds. And they're going to pinch their nose, plug their nose, so they're not smelling the foods. So you have them sit with their eyes closed or blindfolded. Blindfolded works best because it takes a while. And then one at a time, you're going to put foods in their mouth. So say you said cheese, and then if you put it in their mouth, and if they can identify what it is based just on the texture, so their nose is plugged and they're not chewing it, then you would put like a check in this box. You just put an X. If they are, after that, if they don't identify it, they can chew. If but with their nostrils pinched. And if they didn't get it here, but they did get it after that step, you would put the X in that box. If they can't do it then you let them have their nostrils open. And then you put an X in that box if they get it then. And if they don't make it, they can't identify the food at all, you put the X in the last box. Hopefully that makes sense. And you're going to repeat that with 7 different foods. And you're going to hold one out for the next step. And then you're going to answer the questions about when was smell more important, why was it, where did it seem important, and why. You're going to keep your subject, and for this you need two very different very smelly substances. Baking extract is what we use in class. I have anise, which I always think could be anise, which is like licorice smells, peppermint, orange extract, vanilla extract. You should not go out and get these things if you have them in your cupboards because someone at your house bakes. Pretty much everybody has vanilla extract. You could also do this with a perfume that you dip with a Q-tip in like a perfumer, because it doesn't, as long as it's really smelly. If you know anything about vanilla, any of these extracts, they don't really taste like they smell. So you can pick 2 things. The other things you could use is like condiments. So like spicy mustard, soy sauce, barbecue sauce, stuff from your fridge. So don't go out and buy anything. Actually, just use food stuff for this. So the stuff you would find in your fridge or your pantry that's very, very strong smelling and 2 different things. All right, you're going to follow the procedure on 4B on your labs. So we'll go to 4B. 4B is you're going to get the 2 different smells and you're going to put them on Q-tips or whatever, and they're sitting so they can't see what you're doing, and you're going to dry their tongue and close their nostrils. And you take a cotton swab and you take the swab and you put the drop of the oil, use it to put that on their tongue, so it doesn't have to be the oil, it can be whatever, mustard, whatever. And you say, with their nose plugged and a dry tongue, can they distinguish the flavor? And then you open your nostrils and record the sensation that you have with open nostrils. And then you rinse your mouth really well, and then you have 2 different swabs of 2 different things, or, you know, you can mix them up, but try to have two new different things because it helps. You put one under their nose, and if you can save the smelliest stuff for these steps, you're better off. You take that one and put it under the subject's nose and one on their tongue, and they should record what they have in that. So for that, you answer, how did the sensation change when so can they determine what's on their tongue? So this is like dry tongue, nose smelling, then they open up their nostrils, and then, subjects, sensation was different on the substances with the under their nose, and which sense, taste, or smell seems to be important in identifying strongly flavored volatile substances, which is what you're testing. All right, then you're going to do the whole thing over again, but you're going to have the person hold ice on their tongue for a period of time until their tongue is very cold, and then you're going to test one of the foods that they've already identified one more time. So you need one more piece of food. So one of those pieces of food you need to prepare 2 of. And then you write your results where the bold is. Activity 5. We're not going to do activity 5. I have these vials of fun smells, and there are 10 of them, and we identify them, and it's really fun, but we can't clearly do that because I can't get them to you. All right, activity 6. You need something very smelly. You're not going to put it in your mouth this time, so you just need something really smelly. Cologne or perfume works really well for this, but you need 2 different ones. So the activity 6 here, so you're not going to do activity 5, you're just going to do activity 6. And you are going to see how long it takes for your olfaction to adapt. So you can do this on yourself, or you can do it with your subject, or you guys can do it together because that's fun. So you are going to plug one nostril and sniff that thing. So if it's perfume, spray it on something like yourself. Maybe this would be a good thing to do with yourself and your subject. You could spray one of the perfumes on you and one of them on the other person. So you spray it on you, everybody, you sniff that place where you smelled it and you sniff it consistently. It takes a while. Once you can't smell it anymore, you put the time in. You don't stop the timer because then you switch from your left nostril to your right nostril or whatever. When you can't smell it with your second nostril, then you put it then you stop it and you record that time too. Then you do it with the second smell. So then you spray your second cologne, perhaps if you're a good person, on your other subject, or your other arm. Don't layer them. And then, because if you layer them, that will the wet will activate that first smell more than it was. So with your second smell, nostril 1, nostril 2, again, record the time, and what conclusions can you draw? And then these are the questions, and it's short, so you're welcome to the questions in the lab. And I put them all out there for you, so I pretty much typed them all out for you. And you should be able to answer all of them. Cool. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, send me a message through email or Google Classroom.